Let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? Let's talk about the first woman that I encountered with, that I had a relationship with, that opened my eyes to the dark side of female psychology. And all of this happened without me even understanding it or knowing it. And then looking back, I'm like, wow, this is everything I teach. This is everything I know. This was out of high school, and this woman, this long-term relationship, truly opened my eyes to female nature. So I was 19 when I met this girl. I was in college. And back then in college, I loved being single. I was a bit of a fuckboy. I did my own thing. Let's just say I had a plethora of options. There was no shortage of the women because of just the atmosphere I was in. I was in a fraternity. I was at a big school. So women were everywhere. And it wasn't the hardest thing in the world because of the social network and the people you're around at that age. And everyone's partying. I mean, it's just the lifestyle. So when I met her, I was told to ask her to a social event for Greek life through a friend of a friend. So I asked her, but she had other plans and so she couldn't go. But we started talking from there. So we started talking and eventually we hung out. Now, if you look at this beginning stage of female psychology of why there was interest, of course, I'm sure she was physically attracted to me, and she was. But it was also because she knew that I got other women. She knew that I was not in a shortage of other women. She knew that I was confident in myself and my ability to get other women. And so as a result of all of these things, her attraction was higher. That is something about female psychology I did not understand until later in my life, but this was 100% the case. So we start hanging out and we clicked. If I'm going to take somebody seriously, I know immediately the click is just there. And so we just clicked. And so we started seeing each other more frequently. We started hanging out. We started doing things. And I remember about 3 weeks in, we had this fight about something. I don't remember what it was. And I stopped talking to her. I cut her off completely. And then she came around for Easter. She wished me a happy Easter. Some shit like that. She snuck her way back in. But I remember the fight wasn't super crazy in terms of what she did. So we started talking again. I got over it. And this time we clicked again and we started seeing each other for real. She became my girlfriend. This was a matter of weeks. We hit it off. We clicked. Now, when I started, and by the way, okay, this is my disclaimer for this video. I'm not necessarily advocating for cheating, okay? I'm not gonna do that. You decide how your relationship is gonna be, whether you want to be monogamous or what. That's up to you, okay? I was 19 at the time, going to a party school, not giving one fuck, okay? I wanna preface that right now. When I started seeing this girl, seriously this time, she is my girlfriend, and I'll consider this the start of the relationship. I did not slow down with other women. I was still just doing my thing. I was still acting single. I was being a little bit more, sly about it and low key. But I was full fucking guns blazing, didn't give a shit. But at the same time, I was conflicted. I like this girl, it'll be fine, whatever. If she doesn't know, it won't hurt her, type thing. Ignorance is bliss. But I do like her and I do want to hang out with her, so I'm just gonna do both. Because I want the best of both worlds, right? Most guys do. So slowly but surely, she started to catch on a little bit because we are in one school, right? We are in one school and obviously I can't be on apps because that's easy to detect. So things here and there started to kind of come out. And I remember a major fuck up I had that kind of opened the can of worms to this it was in the first few months of us seeing each other. She stayed the night and she saw a condom on the side of the bed. And I remember she got up and she left pretty quickly. I was like, what the fuck? That was weird. Whatever. Normally she's in a better mood than this. And she was like, well, this is what I saw. What the fuck was that? Texting me after. And I just told her I jerked off in the condom. I was like, I didn't have any lubrication and that's what I had to do. Nothing more, nothing less. She was like, okay. And that in itself is a lesson in female psychology. All right. Let me tell you why. If in the moment I gave in, conceded, was honest, was transparent, she would have lost attraction. And this is such a big lie men believe. Men believe that if I'm just honest and open with this woman, she's going to respect me for it. And she's going to, no. They want to be shielded from the cruelties of life. Okay. They don't want to know things. If I was so open and transparent, oh my God, you're right. I'm sorry. I did this. I feel terrible, blah, blah, blah. She would have been like, no, you're a bitch. I don't like you anymore. But because I was like, no, I low-key lied to her face. I'm like, this is what happened. Believe me or don't believe me, I don't really give a fuck. If we're going to break up, we're going to break up. Don't care. Moving on. She was like, yeah, it's fine. Lesson there. The lesson is You don't want to just show your cards to women. You don't want to apologize. You don't want to concede. Even if you are just down and out in the corner, they have all the information. They have books of screenshots. They have everything against you. They have sworn testimonies from girls. Didn't do it. Doesn't matter. Don't care. Leave me or don't. Shut the fuck up. And of course she didn't leave me. She liked me more after that. And so little things like that happened a lot. Like an egregious amount of times. Okay. One time, actually, I'm not going to get into these little stories. But the point is, the female psychology perspective is, women don't leave men that cheat on them. They don't. They leave men that are boring. They leave men they don't respect. They leave men they don't like. And so this routine of like me getting caught or like alluding to getting caught or some girl telling her something happened quite a bit. And then we would fight. And then I would like buy her some flowers and we would just make up. And so this cycle happened in the start of our relationship quite a bit. Now, what did this teach me about female psychology? This taught me about female psychology that it's not the cheating that is why women leave men. It's not. Ever. It's respect. It's emotions. It's volatility. Because I took her through so many ups and downs. So many fucking ups and downs. I mean, one day she's crying. And look, I don't recommend these things. These are extremes, okay? These are extremes that I was doing ignorantly at 19 years old. And so you can do these things in a healthy way without going to the extremes. But it's just the example of emotional volatility. The example is I was 19. I was doing whatever the fuck I wanted. I liked this girl a lot, for sure. I liked dating her. But at the same time, I was like, I'm still going to do my thing. And so that emotional volatility of like getting caught, crying, flowers, making up, she loved it. She was addicted to it. She fucking loved it. She'll never admit this, and I don't think she'll ever see this. But women will never admit these things. But like, why else was she so in love with me? She was so fucking in love with me because I took her on this crazy roller coaster. And again, do these things responsibly and do these things without like the extremes I'm talking about because I was young and just acting crazy. So that's my disclaimer. But the emotion side of it, the psychology side of it, does not change the fact that this is what happened. Ups and downs, crazy ups and downs. Okay, I'll tell you one story. I'll tell you one other quick story. This was in the very early part of our dating, like first few months. Okay. Does that make it any better? I don't know. And we went out with her friend. Okay. And like, you already know where this is going. So her friend stayed at my place after the fact. I don't remember why. She just did. And some things happened. Let's just say this. Some things happened with me and her friend. Okay. When she was asleep. But this bitch was like a witch because bitches are like witches and they just know they just like subconsciously know what's going on. So she wakes up in the middle of the night and kind of catches us. Okay, kind of catches us. And she's pissed, obviously. She's bad. She's like, whatever, really bad. Even though it's only been like a month or two, I'm like, look, let's just all be friends. So really mad, she leaves, takes the friend, whatever. I'm like, it's probably over. Anyways, I texted the next day. I came to her work to bring her some flowers, I think, or something like that. And she was like mad, but she was like so happy that things were fine. And that was it. And that is an example of extreme emotional volatility from like, what the fuck, to I'm so happy, to why does this make me like him more? That I never understood. And I never saw in action with women until I actually saw it in real life. They love it. They just do. And this is dark. That's why the title of the video, this is dark. This is the side of female psychology that is just the truth. And it kind of makes you like squirm a little at the reality of it. But this is the reality. Okay, so that was the first like 7 months, 8 months of this relationship was just like, whoa, just ups and downs, crazy shit. Okay, the worst it got was, I remember I was working retail in college. She came to my job in retail and she's like, give me your phone. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? She's like, give me your phone or we're done, and unlock it. So I gave her my phone. And long story short, I get back from work. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? She's not even here. She's not even at my place. She was kind of staying with me. That's the only thing I did that it kind of fucked up on is I went way too fast. I had her like stay with me. When you move this fast, it just accelerates things to way too much of a degree. Takes things slower with women for sure. And so that happened. That was like the biggest fight, but it was fine. And she gave me my phone back and she forgave me or whatever. And so anyways, we reached this point in the relationship, I think almost about a year in. And she was like we agreed to part ways. She's like, I need a break. She's like, I'm losing my fucking mind. And I'm like, all right, fine. Let's take a break. I think it's good for everyone. We take a break. Okay. Now, I was a little soft at this point. Okay. I liked her. And then when I realized that like we weren't together anymore, I was like, damn, I actually did like her more than I thought I liked her. I actually did. And so I started to like try and talk to her and try to do these things and try to like win her back and whatever. It just made her wild out more. It just made her be more single. So what does that teach you about female psychology? What does it teach you? It doesn't matter what the dynamic is if you've we're dating her for a year or a day or 10 years. When you try and like court back a woman and win her back, it oftentimes has the opposite effect. The only way, if you're going to, which I don't really recommend, to be honest, the only way to win somebody back or get the relationship back is to do it from a place of strength. Because I saw in clear as fucking day, when I was apologizing, when I was, sorry, when I was trying to like come to terms with her and own up to these things so she would just forgive me and whatever, things didn't work well because she had too much power and I was showing weakness and I was conceding. Okay. So anyways, we get back together. Somehow, some way I got back together with her. And I said, this time around, I won't do any of these things. Okay. I'll be loyal. I will be loyal. I promise you. And I was being sincere. I wasn't just saying these things. I was being genuine. She's like, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so I actually did become loyal. Okay. I actually did become loyal. I actually was behaving. Guess what happened? Guess what fucking happens when you go from cheating on a woman to not cheating on a woman? Now they're the ones fucking up. They're the ones bored. It's too even. And look, again, another disclaimer. I'm not saying go cheat, but I'm saying this is what happens when you set the precedent of I'm in charge. I do whatever the fuck I want. You can leave if I want. And then come back in the same relationship. And now I'm the weak one being like, okay, I'll stop. I'll treat you better, blah, blah, blah. And I actually do it. Now she's like, this is boring. I'm bored. I'm not stimulated. Now I need to go do things to start fights so I can feel something, which is exactly what the fuck happened. The second I started, quote unquote, behaving well, which is actually behaving terribly in retrospect, quote unquote, behaving well, stopped cheating, started being loyal. Guess what fucking happened? All these fights that she did, all this bullshit that she did, all this shit that I didn't like that she was doing, all of it. She was enemy number one because if they are not stimulated by something in the relationship, they will create the stimulation at all costs. They'll be chaotic, they'll be toxic, they will start all these fucking problems, and it happened in real time. I was like, wow, now that I'm not the one fucking up, she's clearly the problem. Like, she's been hiding behind me being the problem the entire fucking time. And now that I am unequivocally not the problem, because I'm not doing shit, she is the problem. She's doing all these things wrong. All of this misbehaving because I stopped cheating. It's crazy, but it's true. What does this tell you about female psychology and the dark side of female psychology? They will seek emotional volatility at all costs. If they have to start fights, if they have to do whatever, if they have to go crazy, they need to feel something. And when it's not us creating the feelings in them, they go to crazier extremes than you could ever imagine. And so that lasted because we dated for about 2.5, 3 years. So the second half lasted about 8 months. So the first part must have been longer. It was less than a year of the part two where I was behaving. And it got to a point where I just immediately fucking left her. And I left her high and dry. And I was so sick of her shit. And I left, and I got my balls back. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I'm going crazy again. Fuck this. I am out. And it was like completely cut and dry. Zero contact, zero communication. She's blowing up my phone, but all the crazy shit. But I was like, I just snapped. I'm like, I am done. But that's not where things end. I was like, I am done. We're over. But then some months pass, some time passes. I moved to a new city, right out of college. My dating life sucks. And I'll talk about that period another time because it's really important to learn from my mistakes. And we start talking again. I don't even remember how this happened. We start talking again, which is such a terrible mistake, by the way. Don't get back with the fucking ex. We start talking again. And because I think I reached out to her, she had the power. She had the frame. This lasted a couple of weeks. She was wilding out. She did some shit. And I immediately again was like, we're done. Cut and dry. Goodbye. Never spoke to her again. Through my next relationship after her, she would reach out to me. She'd reach out to me on burner accounts. She'd try to talk to me. And I haven't spoken to her to this day. I've not spoken to her since this day. So what does this tell you about female psychology? When this woman was in love with me the most, I didn't treat her well. I put her to the side. I lived my life. She was just an accessory. I did my thing. I didn't respect her. And she behaved immaculately. Absolutely fucking in love with me. When I took it on its head and I started behaving respectfully and treating her really well, what happened? She started causing all the fucking problems. All of them. Relationship went to shit. Her respect for me dropped. And I saw it in real time as a young boy. As a young man not knowing what the fuck is going on because I didn't understand female psychology. And so you have to understand, cheat or don't cheat, it's your life. But you need to create emotional volatility in women by putting them in line, putting them in place, not conceding, not apologizing, never begging for them back. Learn from my mistakes. If I just maintained the beginning frame the entire time, Would have been great. Would have been great. Yeah, she would have gotten mad here and there, but at least she feels something. You can't be afraid of making her mad. Because at least when she's mad, she feels emotion, which is all she fucking cares about. If she's not mad, if she's always happy, she will get bored, she will leave. She will start fights, she will get bored, she will need to feel something, relationship will go down the fucking tubes. They need to feel things, whether you just putting them in line, or them getting mad, or them getting sad, or them getting jealous. All of these things are great feelings you need to give them. Or you know what happens to the frame. This was the first girl that ever really showed me the full cycle of things. The good, the bad, the ugly, how my behavior changed her behavior, fucking all of it. And she was in love with me. She wanted to get married. She gave me an ultimatum, which is part of the reason why I fucking kamikazed her. She gave me an ultimatum. She's like, I need a ring. She was in love with me. And look at all the shit that happened. In love with me. Because their emotional state trumps all. That is where love, infatuation, respect, loyalty, that's where it all fucking comes from. The emotions you make them feel. If you want to master women in dating and learn 15 years of experience in a matter of weeks, click the application link below to work with me one-on-one. I'll make you a fucking master. If you want a wife and kids, if you want a girlfriend, if you want 10 girlfriends, it doesn't matter. I'll get you there. I'll see you in the next video.